On behalf of the Federal Transit Administration, I want to express sincere condolences to all the families of the workers whose fatal injuries are depicted in this training video. I also want to thank the family members and co-workers who've shared their personal experiences with us in developing the video. Without the assistance and cooperation of the Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority and the New York Metropolitan Transit Authority, it would not have been possible to produce this video. The FTA is committed to safe, reliable, and convenient public transportation. This includes a safe workplace for employees. Repairing and maintaining the nation's rail transit infrastructure has never been more challenging or potentially dangerous. Demands for service are increasing, tracks are busier, trains are longer and on closer headways. As a result, more work is being scheduled during revenue hours. We have developed this training video with the goal of combating the single greatest challenge to on-track safety: complacency. Over the last 4 years, 10 families have lost loved ones in right-of-way accidents that the National Transportation Safety Board has determined could have been prevented. Dozens of other families have had the challenge of dealing with debilitating injuries. A key message in this video is that a single mistake or moment of distraction can have devastating consequences for both workers and their loved ones. Whether you are an operator, controller, supervisor, or wayside worker, consistently following on-track safety rules will save your life and the lives of your fellow workers. The Federal Transit Administration hopes that after seeing this video, you will remember and honor the memory of those who have been killed on the job by doing all that you can to prevent another accident on the tracks. Thank you.
I never really had concern for his safety on the job because he told me about all these safety checks that they had before they would even go on the rails. He had been to numerous training classes for safety. I just never had a concern for it, and mostly bodily injury as opposed to a train hitting him.
As a public transit employee, I'm proud of my job and my co-workers. We all work real hard. Transit workers are the lifeblood of this country, moving millions of people every single day. Now, it's tough to safely maintain and repair a modern transportation system, especially without disrupting service. When we're on top of our game, no one notices. But when something goes wrong, it's like the whole world is watching and waiting, and the pressure's on. Big time. That's easy compared to this part of my job. The part where I have to walk up to that door and face a look that says it all. Horror, shock, disbelief. Because when they see me, they know that I'm about to make this the worst day in their entire life. Because I'm about to tell them that the most important person in their life won't be coming home today, or tomorrow, or forever. After that first moment of silence, things just get worse. And then there's nothing I can do except stand there and say, look, I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. But I'm also angry. I'm furious. I could explode because I shouldn't be here. Someone else should. If they had only paid attention and followed the rules. The rules are easy to remember. We've been hearing them every single day since the first day on the job. Most are just plain common sense anyway. They're there so that we can walk through that door at the end of every shift. And the rules benefit everybody. Everyone. Your coworkers, the public, your family, the family waiting for you on the other side of that door. They say every rule is written in someone's blood. But it doesn't have to be that way. You know, safety is the most important job you do, so I'm asking you, please do your job so that it's you who walks to this door and not me.
On Thursday, November 30th, 2006, at 7 a.m., 2 WMATA Track and Structures System Maintenance employees reported for duty at the Metro Rail Yard in Alexandria, Virginia.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning. Our safety rule for today would be...
During the routine safety meeting with their maintenance manager, they discussed the inspection to be done on 5 miles of track between the Huntington and Crystal City commuter stations at the south end of the Yellow Line.
C-15.
That was my area, so naturally people thought it was me in Brooks and not Cherry. Cherry filled in for me that day.
Once at Huntington Station, the 2 maintenance employees checked in with the terminal supervisor in the blockhouse.
We're gonna be walking from Huntington to Crystal City today, track 2.
Track 2. Okay, make sure when you exit, you contact Central before entering the main line. You guys be safe.
At 7:41, the track maintenance employees requested and were granted permission to go wayside to inspect the southbound track number 2, starting at the Huntington station.
Unit calling.
Good morning, sir. You got 6004 and 6068. Requesting permission to do a track inspection from Huntington to Crystal City, track 2, starting at Huntington.
6004 and 6068. This time you do have permission to track number 2 from Huntington to Crystal City. Proper safety equipment advised Central once you're clear.
After the next train left the station, the 2 maintenance employees moved out onto track 2, walking north.
You have to always be conscious of it. Sometimes it might slip your mind because, you're trying to rush and get something done. And sometimes it can slip your mind that, trains are running both ways.
The senior employee, a Metro Rail veteran with 29 years of service, took the lead, with the second employee walking a few feet behind.
Complacency will get somebody hurt or killed. And sometimes we do our jobs in a routine kind of way because this is the system that we have. Everything run off of time, So you get kind of stuck in, being complacent and being in a rut. Your routine. But sometimes something happened out of routine, what are you going to do? And I think that's where the accidents and things happen.
Shortly after, a regular revenue service train passed the 2 employees as it headed north on the other track. The maintenance employees also had to clear the track for train 307, another revenue service train heading south on their track into Huntington Station. Once in the station, train 307 waited for permission to return north without passengers into the storage yard, as was customary. Once a lunar signal appeared, train 307 moved back out of the station on the same track, accelerating to 38 miles per hour down the slight grade and into the curve just to the north. Seeing personnel in the distance, the train operator sounded the horn. The 2 maintenance employees may have assumed the train approaching from behind was on the other track.
That things can happen. And that, people like myself that's been around a long time have been doing this job that, you can be lapsed, get lapsed and something happen.
Although it was hard to tell, the train operator believed that they acknowledged the horn.
You know you're not going to make it from experience, but you're hoping and praying that just this time it stop on a dime, that it stop.
As they continued their inspection, neither of the 2 maintenance employees turned to verify which track the train was on.
What goes through your mind is, You're looking at it and you're saying, God, please, 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 don't.
Once out of the curve, the train operator could see that the two maintenance employees hadn't cleared the track and sounded the horn a second time.
And when you relax, when you're on the railroad, you never know what could happen to you.
Still assuming the train was on the other track, the two maintenance personnel didn't react or even turn around. In fact, the maintenance employees never saw the train that struck and killed them.
That we all follow the guidelines, because the guidelines happen to come up on all incidents where there was a flaw in it. If we all follow the guidelines and stay within the guidelines, it'll be safer.
You always believe that when you leave out of here in the morning, the guys that you leave out of here with in the morning, you're going to see them when you come back.
This tragic accident demonstrates that there are many actions we can all take.
Always request and receive permission from the Operations Control Center before entering the right-of-way. Always use a designated watchman lookout to provide protection for personnel working on live track. When equipment approaches you on the right-of-way, stand clear before giving any hand signals. When personnel are spotted on the track, train operators must slow to 10 miles per hour. If personnel are not clear, or if the appropriate hand signal is not received, train operators must immediately stop the train. Before proceeding, train operators should acknowledge hand signals from workers, typically with 2 short taps of the horn.
Here's a guy with 15 years on the job, and went out, left his house, said goodbye to his wife and kids, and a slight oversight cost him his life.
On April 24, 2007, at 2200 hours, a New York City Metropolitan Transit Authority maintenance supervisor met with 3 teams of track workers assigned to track flagging activities to protect a section of track scheduled for rail renewal near the 59th Street station of the 7th Avenue line. The shift began with a toolbox safety talk, during which the maintenance supervisor outlined the work to be performed and the working limits of the general order that was to begin at 2300 hours. 2 of the teams were assigned to secure the northern and southern limits of the general order on the Center Express track designated for renewal.
There's no small accidents down here. You'll probably hear that. It's always something big and bad.
They die in pairs, and it's usually a senior guy with a younger guy, and complacency with the senior and the junior guy not knowing any better. So it's a deadly combination of complacency and inexperience.
A 3rd team was sent to set up track flagging lamps on the local tracks to either side of the Center Express track. At approximately 2300 hours, the team assigned to protect the adjacent tracks picked up the appropriate flagging lamps and descended onto the right-of-way north of the 59th Street station. Because the general order was soon coming into effect, the maintenance supervisor did not contact the Rail Control Center to notify them that personnel would be on the right-of-way.
People make mistakes, and if you're in the middle of that era, you can get hurt.
The 2 track workers first displayed 3 yellow lamps on the local southbound track to provide adjacent track protection for the Center Express track. While the 2 track workers were setting up the lamps, the work train assigned to support the construction activities passed by, on the track where the work was to be done. The presence of the work train on the Center Express track suggested that the general order had gone into effect at 2300 hours as planned.
Make sure of this, make sure when somebody says somebody says something is right, don't always just take it totally for granted that it is right. You need to know that it's right.
However, a southbound commuter train had experienced a brakes-in emergency on the local track to the north, delaying the general order while southbound service was rerouted onto the express track designated for renewal. Without radios, the maintenance supervisor and track workers were unaware that the general order had been delayed and was not yet in effect, or that the work train had been rerouted to the south until the express track was no longer needed for local traffic. They then crossed the express track to place a green lamp at the end of the work limits on the local northbound track. Once the green flagging lamp for the northbound track was in position, the 2 track workers turned around and headed back. As they walked across the express track through the portal in the support walls, the track worker in the lead looked to his left for the work train he expected would return in a reverse movement from the south, stepping right into the path of a rerouted local train coming from the north.
When he stepped out into the track, he knew in his mind that there was no train, but there was a train.
Because of the train in emergency at the previous station, the train operator had reduced speed. Unfortunately, the track worker that was hit did not survive.
Down here, it's the most unforgiving of environments. And if you are working in an office and you make a mistake, you would live to tell somebody. Down here, down on the tracks, if you make a mistake, you would either die or you would be maimed for life.
Tragic accidents such as this remind everyone who works on or around the track of the importance of even the most basic rules.
Expect a train on any track in either direction at all times. Contact Rail Control Center before entering the right-of-way and after clearing it. Confirm that general orders are in effect before entering the right-of-way. Always include discussions of the safest routes and procedures in your toolbox safety talks.
Think about your family. Think about your family before you decide to cut corners. Think about your family before you decide to violate any rules and regs that are instituted within your authority. Follow the rules. This way, you definitely, if you follow the rules and regulations, you will go home and see your family at the end of the day.
My most favorite thing to do was to go to Costco with him. That was his favorite store to go to. Every single Saturday he would wake us up in the morning, and every Saturday we would go to Costco with him, and we would just, spend good time with him.
On Sunday, May 14th, 2006 at 6 a.m.
ATC, I'm gonna see, I got a bob and track circuit.
WMATA Operations Control Center detected a track circuit problem at the interlocking just north of the DuPont Circle station on the Red Line. An automatic train control mechanic was sent to the station, where he first did some troubleshooting in the station's train control room. The mechanic then requested and received permission from the control center to go wayside into the tunnel to visually inspect the interlocking in question before regular revenue service began at 7 a.m. At 7 a.m., the mechanic reported that he was back in the clear and the problem had cleared by itself. Not long after, train controllers reported the same problem with the interlocking again.
2137, proper safety equipment do have permission, DuPont. Track number 2, checking the bottom safety track circuit. Contact center once you're clear.
When a senior automatic train control mechanic on duty heard the second OCC call, he radioed the first mechanic that he and another mechanic were nearby and on their way to help.
He was a real nice guy. I mean, he would help you any way he could. He was real solid, real safe. He was safety conscious. He never tried to cut corners or, he was always by the book.
Arriving at DuPont Circle around 9 a.m., the senior mechanic supervised further tests in the station's train control room, then called the control center for permission to go wayside to inspect the interlocking.
294. Copy that. Yourself and 2 other personnel do have permission proper.
The operations center controller gave them permission and then made a radio broadcast to all trains on that line that workers were wayside near the DuPont Circle station, but without a speed restriction, as one had not been requested. Aside from some missing C-bonds, the visual inspection revealed nothing else that could be causing the problem. As normal train service had started, the team of mechanics occasionally had to clear the work area for passing trains. At one point, the senior mechanic returned to the station's train control room to adjust the output to the track circuit relay, which appeared to fix the problem. With the 2 mechanics positioning shunts at various locations around the interlocking and occasionally clearing for trains, the senior mechanic made final track circuit adjustments in the train control room. When positioning the shunt failed to simulate the presence of a train, the senior mechanic went wayside to discuss the problem with the other 2 mechanics. During this discussion, a northbound train entered the station. Once again, they all moved clear into the safe area between the 2 tracks at the north end of the interlocking.
You need to always be aware of your surroundings, always be leery, never become comfortable, because once you become comfortable, then there's a situation that's bound to happen.
The train operator signaled the mechanics that the train was leaving. The senior mechanic, who was closest to the station, gave the all-clear signal with his flashlight. As the northbound train began to pull out of the station, the 2 mechanics furthest from the train felt an increase in air pressure, indicating a train was coming into the station on the other track behind them. As the northbound train approached their position, the senior mechanic took a step back, directly into the dynamic envelope of the southbound train coming into the station at 40 miles per hour, which struck and killed him.
Well, I mean, that was probably when I first realized what had happened. His family was the thing that I thought of first, because it was Mother's Day is when it happened. And I just realized that his family was going to have to deal with that.
I had a hard time sleeping. Every morning I remember waking up crying, just kind of like thinking about, sorry. It was just really hard to think about the fact that he was no longer coming home, because he used to come home at 11:30 at night, and I used to wait for him. I remember always hearing the door and hearing his keys clinking when he walked up the stairs at night, and I knew he would come. I knew he was home, but it was just really hard accepting the fact that he wouldn't come home anymore.
lot has been learned from this terrible loss, prompting emphasis on and modifications to rules and procedures.
Always conduct trackside job briefings and always identify specific job dangers and identify proper safe areas. Move to a designated known safe area when standing clear on the right-of-way. Ensure that all members of the work crew acknowledge the lookout's train warning. When approaching work sites where personnel are on the right-of-way, reduce your train speed to 10 miles per hour.
I just cry. My son is doing so well in school, and his father's not there to see it. And we went and saw High School Musical on Friday, and it's prom. And I'm thinking, my son is not going to have his father there to see him go to the prom, to see him graduate. And I'm missing it for him. And that's what I'm crying in High School Musical 3 because I'm missing that my husband's not going to be there to see my son graduate. I would say to them that just make sure that when you leave, be conscious of what you're doing on the job, because you have a family that wants to see you come through that door every afternoon, and that you need to be alert to what you're doing, and that other people are also alert at their jobs, and that you're following procedures so that at the end of the day, your loved ones will see you walking through that door.
If you can't get it done in a safe manner, just wait till you can do it in a safe manner. And same thing that go with guys that I work with. I said, look, if we can't get this done safe tonight, let's try it again another day.